Portu infinitum evanata, portut erebetin ad exequitum, de plucfenic a finetin. It's the fourth gateway. We're in sort of awkward theoretical state right now. We would like to be farther along in the actual development of the piece, but mostly due to limited availability and conflicts for the actors that we've been using, we haven't been able to have nearly as much practical hands-on rehearsal time.
Well, everything has evolved, really. The story, the other elements of the production, the relationship between us on the team.
It's just gotten a lot narrower to this point. We have pretty much a mock-up of almost the entire thing. I mean, minus one scene, for which we do have,
a basic idea.
I mean, they're so limited, but they have to have everything just right.
What's happened since we saw you last?
So when we saw each other last, we were kind of challenged to simplify the set to
right, because it was a little complicated.
It was a little complicated, and I think we made a huge step in that direction.
You have to really be able to convey your visual idea for people to really be sold on what you have, to present.
I think the choreography of the movement, of what the characters are doing, has to be very, very, very specific. And it's just not. You haven't done that yet.
It's been humbling, not in a bad way, I suppose. But just realizing that you can't make everything happen all the time.
Each time that I've been here, the students come up with, I'm surprised at their preparedness that they come up with, their storyboards or their scenic elevations or even the choreography.
What's the backstory? Well, then we could do this and we could have that. And kind of using that mentality really helped drive the content. Because, without a good foundation, you can't build on sand. You got to have a solid foundation.
I think we started very big of kind of the spectacle side of things, and then it was like, no, we need to, if we have a strong story that we could tell with absolutely no tech, then the tech will just make that story magical.
They did their homework. I mean, they came in with finished projects, some great artistic concepts and ideas. It does my heart good because that's a true artist. You have a group of true artists in the room and at the school.
Mom and Dad are fighting. This is really big.
Right. And the music should also reflect that too, because the music is great. It's just it needs to reflect that same thing.
Yeah, I think
it needs to take a journey as well.
So I'm still in the process of designing potential costumes for vocalists, and so far I have a really big, poofy white dress with a train for the Moon's vocalist, and
they seemed approachable with me yesterday, and I like that because I feel that now I can start to be really honest with them and give them honest notes.
Just
But you have to be careful because two things. One, you don't want them to disrupt and pull focus on their entrance, but you don't want them there from the beginning of the piece because
they come in later.
Well,
they might come in from behind and then
Can they do that?
we've got storyboards, we've got our idea, we've got performers, which is a lot more than we had at our last gateway.
It's so important that we recognize the work of these students because it gives them the motivation to go a little further. We have chosen 3 very strong teams from the Circus Theater project that we would like to see move forward and help them to produce their project and their concept.
I think all the groups had really good ideas and interesting stories to tell. And it was really tough because they were all pretty good.
Well, my biggest fear is not getting picked. I really want to get picked because this project has been so amazing to work on. 1, just to be a part of it, and 2, just to learn about how I work with people and collaborate.
I think the groups that made it through, they just were able to land on their ideas more concretely at the beginning of the process, so they were able to develop it further through the 4 gateways than some of the other teams. I think some of the other teams, they had good ideas, but that had a harder time figuring out what it is they wanted to do with those ideas.
And we had a difficult time deciding which of the groups really stood out and that had something, but it was these three groups that were really well prepared.
So what they had at the end, I think, was a little bit stronger, was a little bit more ready to get on its feet than the other groups.